But I'll just finish with this. The U.S., we're going to face a lot different threats in the future, in the near future. Our concern, I think, about water is that we're about 2030 away from probably a really serious crisis in the world on water. And
2030 mean the year 2030?
Yep, 2030. And if you look at the perspective of what that 2030 means, right now it seems like that's a ways off. We can probably figure it out. 9/11 was about 14 years ago. And I think that went just like that. So anyway, yes, we have a lot of issues that we have to start preparing for, and probably the only really military in the world that can do it because of size, and we do spend a lot of money as the U.S. military.
Kathy, aren't we just sort of one widget away from solving these water problems? It's just some spigot, salt water goes in one side, fresh water comes out the other. And why? So you say there'll be a catastrophe in 15 years. Why don't any of us have any hope or expectation that a clever person will show up and solve this problem so that water is no longer a strategic asset?
Well, there might be one widget, but there will be 9 billion people by the year 2030 that Chuck's talking about. And so there are a number of factors. One is that widget takes electricity to run. And with the technology we currently have to
Or sunlight.
Or sunlight. But you're going to make water for 9 billion people. You're going to make water to irrigate an area the size of the Central Valley or some of the areas where TESS works. You're going to need some serious power density to make that all happen. So our widgets today that can take the salt out of seawater consume a lot of electricity to do that. And guess what? It takes a lot of water to produce a lot of electricity. So getting the economics to where you're really making some economic sense and getting the water cycle to where it's making some sense to suck in seawater to turn out a gallon of fresh water. And then, oh, by the way, since I do have that ocean word in our agency title, what's left when you've sucked the salt out of seawater is a really dense, salty brine. Okay, that just became your waste stream. What do you do with that? Well, you could put it back in the big ocean where it came from, except all the things that live in the big ocean that 20% of the people depend on for food globally, they don't like really salty water like that. So there's the power density, there's the competing use of water for electricity and electricity to make water, there's the waste problem, and then there's just getting started improving some things to the appropriate scale and moving out on it. So one widget against 9 billion people is still a pretty tough proposition to scale.